now available in paperback and e-readers. Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. The goddess next door takes on the threat of a deadly digital diva driven to destroy the world in this action-packed, all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess featuring a bonus pin-up and the other 2 books in the Cyber Goddess saga at online bookstores everywhere today. Gymnast Simone Biles made an abrupt and shocking exit from the Tokyo Olympic Games. Now, your Simone Biles was heavily favored to win the gold medal in gymnastics, and her abrupt withdrawal from the competition was a surprise to many. Now, your Simone Biles was heavily favored to win the gold medal in gymnastics after winning competitions for years. And your Simone Biles was so confident in her gymnastic ability, she actually put a goat on many of her leotards, denoting that she was the greatest of all time. Unfortunately, when she started to do her gymnastic meet and participate in the first event, she wound up making an error in her moves, and this was one of the reasons why she said that she was forced to withdraw. Now, according to Simone Biles, she said she was forced to withdraw because she was having the twisties and was having mental health issues. Now, when I take a critical examination of your Simone Biles' decision to exit the Tokyo Games, I believe the reason why she left the Tokyo Games was due to some mental issues, but those mental issues were actually bruises to her ego. Now, your Simone Biles made an error as related to her first launch, and it was that error in her first launch that I believe wound up being the reason why she decided to withdraw. Because with her going out here and proclaiming herself to be the GOAT, or the greatest of all time, she took a major bruise to her ego, and it was that bruise to her ego that led to her being embarrassed for having a mistake, and it was that embarrassment as related to that mistake being the main reason why she was forced to withdraw. So I don't really believe it was a mental health issue here. I believe it was an ego issue here, and because it was an ego issue here, this is the main reason why she went out here and decided to withdraw from the competition. And she withdrew from the competition out of fear of people talking about her having flaws, and because she could not deal with the fact that she was having a mistake as related to her performance. She decided to just give up. And this is something that I have seen with a lot of children who come from single mother households, because oftentimes when you have a child like Simone Biles who was not raised with a father in the home, what happens is whenever they make a mistake, a lot of those kids, they wind up giving up because they made a mistake where they get their ego bruised, and they wind up having to be embarrassed because they failed in public. Now, this is something I had to deal with myself as somebody who deals with social anxiety and struggles with anxiety in his life. I have had to deal with numerous events where I wound up feeling embarrassed as related to making a mistake. And what I had to do after I made that mistake was not get into myself and give up. No, what I had to do was go out here, realize I made a mistake, and then continue to persevere. Because that's something that my parents taught me, and that's something I learned to do for myself, even as I struggle with being a shy guy and a socially anxious guy. I still understand that if I want to accomplish something, I've got to just overlook the mistake that I made, learn from that mistake, and then go out here and continue to push on. Because as a guy, again, with social anxiety, I have dealt with people attacking me because, or it's related to my books having bad covers over the last couple of years because I used to hand draw my covers before I got enough money to be able to hire artists. And I had to deal with some people who were having issues with the grammar in my books. But instead of me being embarrassed about the mistakes that I had made, it just made me want to go out here and try even harder because in the face of failure, I had a goal I wanted to pursue. And this is the problem I see with Simone Biles, is that she did not really want to go out here and pursue the goal of a gold medal because her ego had been so inflated by winning all of these competitions and called the best in the world that she didn't really care about the Olympics to the point where she wanted to go out here and persevere. She already, in her mind, got the title of the best in the world, and she wanted to just have this gold medal as icing on a cake. So for her, she got embarrassed by winding up making a mistake, and this hurt her so emotionally that it made her so embarrassed to go out here that she could not believe she could perform, and that's what got her so scared that she practically wound up giving up because in her mind, oh, if I give up, then people won't go out here and see me as less than. They will just be able to just say, oh, she gave up because of her mental health. But that was an excuse I had to deal with for many years. I mean, a lot of people wanted to say I was slow, I was retarded, and things like that. But I would always go out here and persevere in the face of dealing with people thinking less of me. And even though sometimes things wouldn't work out right, I would go out here and continue to drive. But when I really look at Simone Biles' exit, it's another symptom of America's ongoing man crisis, because when you have children and they're not raised with fathers or having men in the community, they no longer learn how to go out here and persevere and push in the face of embarrassment or failure. Now, a lot of guys who, like myself, when we go out here and mess up, one of the things we like to do is just go out here and crack a joke and say things like, oh, well, I'll just try to do it again, or, just to get the pressure off, because if you get people laughing, then they understand that, okay, yeah, that's not really coming out right, but he's still in the game because he's still, his spirit is still up. But when you have somebody who just gives up, it just shows that they are afraid of having to deal with the consequences of a mistake, and you should never feel like you should have to fail and give up as related to the consequences of a mistake. And it goes back to something that Dr. Robert Glover said in his book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, about your nice guys. They really don't like to fail, and they don't like to be embarrassed by their failures, so they will go out here and try to hide them. But the whole thing is, when you fail, you can't really run from a failure. You just have to go out here, accept that the mistake was made, and then learn what to do different the next time. And this is something I believe your Simone Biles has not really had to deal with, because she has had so much success that she's never really had to confront a failure. And I've seen so many people, again, like this in my life, who they get so much success in their life, they've never had to deal with failure. And because they've never had to deal with failure, they don't know how to work through their emotions regarding that embarrassment. Because yes, you have those feelings about that embarrassment, but you work through them and say, I'm going to continue to act by persevering in the face of that failure. And this is how you earn respect from others out here, by learning from your mistakes. Unfortunately, Simone Biles did not want to show how her character would be strong by going out here and persevering in the face of failure. And this is what happens when you have a generation of children who have been given a lot of participation trophies, and they have not had their character built by failure. They have not had their character built by their fathers pushing them, and they have not really been taught how to truly compete, because your Simone Biles, in the face of true competition, wound up crumbling into dust, because She couldn't stand the pressure of failure, but failure is a part of life, and when you make a mistake, you just go and get back up. And that's something she didn't learn because she was the GOAT. But even a GOAT falls down every now and again. I mean, Michael Jordan had bad games. Many of your boxers like Muhammad Ali had bad fights. And many of your truly talented people out here, they have had bad moments or bad things that happen, but they never gave up. And that's why they are considered the greatest. And when you brand yourself a GOAT and then you fall down, it's more embarrassing because this is how you thought you saw yourself, but the reality of the situation comes down on you, and the person who gets hurt the most is you. And that's what happened in the case of Simone Biles, is that she wanted to go out here and be the GOAT. Unfortunately, because she wound up falling down, we saw how she's still very much a kid as related to being able to handle adversity and pressure. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my men's issues books, like Stop Simping in the Workplace, Stop Simping in Cyberspace, The Man Crisis, or Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, you can find all of those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords, the iBook Store, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available on Kindle, E-Steam No Good Deed. The Devil's Diva scares some stick-up kids straight in this action-packed E-Steam series comic. Get E-Steam No Good Deed on Kindle for 99 cents today.